It's Big Board Sports with Roger Wyland on 104.5 The Team.
Every Monday we talk UAlbany men's basketball with the head coach, Will Brown, and he joins us here on Big Board Sports. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Raj. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. You still complaining about Penn State?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I opened up the show with that this morning.
What a surprise.
You know, spent 15 minutes on
Do you really believe that?
I really believe that they belong over Washington as the Final Four.
Well, good for you.
Yes, obviously you don't.
I mean, I just think that no matter what they do every year, somebody that's worthy is going to get left out, whether it's 4, whether it's 8, whether, there's people out there that think the USC is the best team in the country right now outside Alabama, the way they've been playing. So it's good talk radio, right?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Keeps you busy, right?
No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about your team here a little bit. Back-to-back losses against two really good teams in Holy Cross on Wednesday and then at Yale on Saturday. What's your thought right now after a couple losses?
Not scoring enough points. I think Holy Cross is a little different than Yale just for the fact the way they play. They really, the old school Princeton offensively, and, defensively, they played 1-3-1 the majority of the game, makes or misses. They don't send anybody to the offensive glass. Very unique team, 5 starters back from a team that made a nice run at the end of the year to go to the tournament. So, I thought they were a little more experienced than us, especially on the perimeter. But we turned the ball over too many times. And then the Yale game, we had opportunities. We're just not getting enough consistency. Our front court guys scored the ball a little bit offensively and really didn't get a lot of offense from the perimeter. Just haven't pieced it all together yet at this point, and yet, it's an even game with, just under 4 minutes to go against Holy Cross, and, we still had a chance with 7 seconds to go, down 1, going to the free throw line with a 1-on-1. So, we had opportunities, we just didn't get it done. Our defense isn't where I'd like it to be, but the last 2 games we've held our opponents to in the 50s, and if you hold your opponents to in the 50s, you should be winning those games. Looking at it now, the one thing offensively, as much as, we need more balance, what's really hurting us is the three-point shot. We hit 2 in the first 5 minutes of the game against Yale and then didn't hit 1 again. We hit our first three-point shot and only three-point shot against Holy Cross with 5 seconds left in the game. And both those teams, hit double-digit threes against us. So, we're looking at our three-point defense a little bit, but we have given up some offensive rebound throw-out threes, and we've also given up some threes in transition. And then Holy Cross game, the kid champion hit 2 NBA deep threes with less than 5 seconds left on the shot clock. So, it would be nice if we hit a few more threes on our own, but we haven't. And some guys that are missing them are getting a little gun shy, and that can't happen. We got to step up and knock down the open three in rhythm, and we can't hesitate. We'll be fine. We just got to weather the storm here. We lost to 2 solid basketball teams, and now we got to try to get back on track on Wednesday.
Coach, what's the mood of your team right now?
I think they're a little down. I think some of that is just newness on the perimeter. I think some of those guys are putting too much of the burden on their shoulders, and we can't live and die with every great play and every mistake. I think our front court guys are just pretty even keel. Nothing really bothers Steyer and Rowley. Those guys just go out there and do their job. I think David and Joe and Marquise, too many little things they let bother them, they let get to them, so those guys are pretty down right now. But we just need to understand, that we can't take possessions off. We can't turn the ball over. We've just got to be rock solid. And what happens is when you don't do the little things during the game, the end result, when it's not favorable, really bothers you after the game. and you don't get those games back. You got to learn from the mistakes, and you got to correct the mistakes, and you got to move forward. So we're a little bit banged up right now, as well, and that's a concern. We've got some guys that'll sit out practice today that got hurt in our game on against Yale. Coach Evans will be suiting up today and practicing. But we just got to take a deep breath and relax and realize that 8 games in, we've got another 7 games in our non-conference schedule to iron out some wrinkles and to get more consistent, to get a little bit better, and feel good about ourselves before the new year.
Will, you mentioned after the game, we're talking Will Brown. We talk to Coach Brown every Monday here on Big Board Sports on 104.5 The Team. We've got Alan Hahn coming up, Hahn and Humpty here at 11:15 this morning. Coach, what is the, you mentioned injury to Joe Cremo after the game. How serious of an injury is it?
Well, the hard part for me during a game as a coach is Joe is such a competitor, and he wants to do everything to help his team win. So when I came out for the second half, there was about a minute left on the warm-up clock, and Joe was just sitting down on the bench, and he was rubbing, looked like his inner leg, and I said, "What's wrong?" And he's just shaking his head with his head down. He's like, nothing. I'm like, "Joe, what's wrong?" And he's like, "I just feel a lot of tightness in my groin area." And, and he wouldn't elaborate anymore. I asked our trainer to take a look at him. He really didn't communicate too much, with our trainer, just Joe being the competitor that he is. And he was wincing a little bit on the court, just didn't look his normal comfortable self, out there. And, after the game, he said he was experiencing tightness, in the groin area. He's been evaluated, by the training staff. He's not going to practice today. Obviously, he's upset at that because, he wants to be out there for his team, trying to help his team, get better. But, the groin that's a funny area. If, we don't be cautious and careful with that. We don't want a situation with Lands with the hamstring where, that groin gets worse because we're trying to ask Joe to fight through some tightness, and now he's out a couple of weeks. I'd rather be overly cautious, get him rest, get him treatment. We'll evaluate him again tomorrow morning, see where he's at, and then I'll rely on our trainer's expertise as far as, the next step moving forward. If he can practice on Tuesday, or if we need to be careful with what he does on Tuesday, to try to get him ready for the game on Wednesday. So we'll be real careful with that one.
Coach, appreciate a few minutes. Marist, the opponent on Wednesday. In 30 seconds, how good is Marist? I saw them when we were at Mohegan Sun. How good is this Marist team coming in?
Yeah, they're 4-4 right now. They make you spend a lot of time on defense. They run a lot of similar stuff to Holy Cross. They shoot a ton of threes. They don't do much on the inside. The issue with Marist is they have arguably the best guard in the MAC in Khalid Hart. So he demands so much attention that the rest of the guys get a lot of open looks, and if they're knocking down their shots, they're tough because then it opens up a lot of driving lanes and opportunities for Hart. And then defensively, I expect them to play 2-3 zone 80% of the game. So for us, we're going to have to do a great job on Khalid Hart. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. And then offensively, we're going to have to attack that zone, and we will have to take some threes and make some threes if we're going to win the game.
Coach Will Brown, every Monday morning here on Big Board Sports. We'll have the call for you on Wednesday night, tip time 7 over at SEFCU. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We'll talk to you. That is Will Brown. Back-to-back losses. They'll try to turn it around against Marist out of the MAC conference, non-conference game for UA on Wednesday night.